sitting with uncomfortable feelings. So, in general, if we really look at our thoughts, what they do uh, is they modulate our narratives, and really it creates the narrative to begin with. So we get this narrative that's kind of come to be and sprung out of our thoughts, and then in order to keep that narrative um, one that's favorable, we have to continuously tweak it and modulate it and create sort of like a smoke and mirror sort of illusion with our thoughts, which can basically reframe and twist uh, whatever is happening um, and able to make it fit our narrative or to make it less painful with the narrative that's already been constructed. So if you watch your thoughts a lot, they're basically trying to rationalize things, trying to frame things in a certain way, trying to construct certain narratives. Um, and basically, this is all to avoid uh, uncomfortable feelings. It can mitigate the feeling if we can reinterpret it um, in some sort of way that causes less discomfort. And a lot of times, it's kind of weird because a lot of times we're doing this, it's a fantasy, but also the narrative that's that's there to begin with that we're trying to tweak things to accommodate for is also a fantasy. So it's kind of like a fantasy within a fantasy. Um, so we're basically trying to keep our little bubble, our little fantasy going. We construct the fantasy and then we try to maintain it with our thoughts because without that fantasy, we don't have an identity. Um, our identity is constructed out of uh, kind of fantastical thoughts, beliefs, and ideas and notions. So, counterintuitively, instead of trying to manipulate with our thoughts, if we can learn to just sit through those uncomfortable feelings, then that's where we can be more aligned with at least the consensus reality, the bubbles that everyone else is living in. Because if your bubble becomes a little too kind of lost from the collection of bubbles, then um, you're living in a delusion within a delusion. Because all those bubbles are fantastical and deluded. But by creating a consensus, there is a sort of a meta structure that emerges there, and and everybody sort of is able to work together um, and have a healthy little bubble. But if your bubble is if you're trying to live in a little coddled bubble where everything is the way you want it, and you're not making some sacrifices, then your little bubble is going to start to veer off from the collection of bubbles. So by sitting through the uncomfortableness and not trying to reframe, sometimes what we can do is we can notice that uh, our thoughts are actually quite diluted. This is also a good practice. Sitting with the uncomfortable feelings um, is also a good practice for people who have anxiety disorders or addictions, because people who are addicted, they're usually trying to escape some sort of uncomfortable feeling. and they're using whatever they use to uh, maintain this sort of happy status quo that they desire in their narrative bubble. So, also, on the other side of things, sometimes cognitive reframing, like that's used in like cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT therapy. Sometimes reframing is a good skill to have, but um, here's my kind of rule of thumb. Like if your thinking is kind of shoddy, if your thinking is the problem, then reframing can be good. But if the issue is that you're just trying to get away from feelings, then I think that we should notice if we're doing any sort of mental gymnastics and trying to reframe things in just such a way that just makes us sleep better at night. There's a difference there. If your thinking is shoddy, then reframing can be useful. But if you're just trying to avoid feelings, then instead of trying to, if you notice yourself ruminating or doing mental gymnastics, uh try to notice that. Try to just feel the feeling, get curious about where the feeling is coming from, and go directly to the feeling, and just don't try to push it away with thoughts. Just feel it. You don't even need to interpret the feeling with thoughts. It's just a feeling. The feeling itself is quite neutral until you frame it with your thinking. So yeah, that'll about do it for this episode. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. If you have anything you want to say, then please comment down below. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.